Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5. In this video, we would like to explain to you about the research methods that used in language and literature. And therefore, here are our group members along with their materials. The first will be brought to you by Andi Hanif, which is about selection of a topic. The second material will be brought to you by Rizna Nuryanti, which is about significance and objectives of the study. The third material will be brought to you by myself, Muhammad Suryo Saputro, which is about hypothesis and the approaches. And the fourth material will be brought to you by initial synopsis with chapter sim, which will be brought to you by Ramat Hidayat. The fifth material will be brought to you by Sri Hastuti, and it is about collection of data, primary and secondary sources. And the last material will be brought to you by Kanza Faiz, which is about among the friends, the library. And without further ado, please Andi Hanif to bring your material.
So I will explain about selection of a topic. A research is some possible solution to a problem, or it is a systematic response to an opinion, argument, or a proposition. Such opinion, argument, or proposition are generally discussed in learned conference, seminars, workshops, or even in some committee meetings on syllabus formation, deciding conference themes, or policy making of departments. If one is attentive enough, one can find such area of concern in the paper presentation or lectures also. On such occasions, topics for concern are discussed and debated. If one consults one guide in this connection, one can find a good topic for the research endeavor. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, the next material is significance and objective of the study. Significance, objective, hypothesis, and method of the study are closely related to each other. It may be noted that the significance and objective of research in general are different from those of the topic selected for a particular study. The wording of the selected topic is very important because that decided the area or the premises of the proposed investigation or exposition. The evaluation of the thesis or the paper is also based on the wording of the topic. So the objectives of the proposed study should be formulated with reference to the exact wording of the topic. Why is the significance of the study important? First is to convey to the reader why the research work was important. Second is make clear to the reader what the significance of the research that you perform was. And the third, to make clear what kind of contribution made and the benefit of it. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, so that was the second material from Rizna Nuryanti. And the third material is about hypothesis and the approaches, which will be brought to you by myself, Muhammad Suryo Saputro. One of the most important considerations when beginning your research work and formulating the research problem is constructing the hypothesis and choosing the proper approaches. So there are two different definitions of hypothesis that was given out by the experts. The first one by Bailey in 1978. He believed that a hypothesis is a proposition in testable form and predicts a particular relationship between two or more variables. Meanwhile, Grinnell believes that hypothesis is written in such a way that it can be proven or disproven by valid and reliable data. So, therefore, there are three different types of approaches. The first one is descriptive. This approach attempts to identify the characteristics of a problem through description, because the subject cannot be described in all its detail. careful selection of facts must occur. Second one is about explanatory. The explanatory, on the other hand, is studies that designed to investigate origin and cause-effect relationships. The typical study includes the collection of empirical data for the formulation of hypotheses or less pretentious hunches and the subsequent test of this hypothesis by any one of a number of ways available to the researcher. And the next type is about a remedial, which is a study that seeks to formulate plans to correct or improve undesirable social, economic, political, and environmental conditions. These undesirable conditions, causes, and processes associated with them are analyzed. And the next material will be about initial synopsis with chapter sim.
Okay. The next material is initial synopsis with chapter sim. There are two different synopses in research to be submitted to the university. The initial one, which is brief framework or outline of the proposed study with the brief information about the topic selected, its objective, significance, scope, and limitation, its method, and sometimes the initial bibliography. The second is the final synopsis. It's the actual synopsis of the work already complete, a brief summary type account of the work done. As a synopsis should be constructed in a manner that facilitates the reviewer to understand the research project, and at a glance, it should be brief but precise. A synopsis can be structured in the following manner. 1. The total length of the synopsis should be not exceed the limit of 15 pages. 2. The title page. 3. A few introductory paragraphs regarding the choice of the author, text, or the topic. 4. A very brief account of the life and works of the author selected for the study. 5. A few paragraphs regarding the significance of the topic, its relevance, or its applied value, if any. 6. A few paragraphs about the scope and limitation of the study. 7. A few paragraphs about the approach. 8. A few paragraphs about the survey of the criticism available up to the date. 9. The proposed chapter sim may be with a brief comment. 10. A short paragraph summing up in the form of a statement. 11. A tentative initial bibliography. 12. Signature and the dates. Okay, that's all.
Okay, thank you for the material. And the next material is about collection of data, primary and secondary sources.
Okay, I'd like to talk about collection of data, primary and secondary data. Data collection plays a very crucial role in the statistical analysis. In research, there are different methods used to gather information, all of which fall into two categories. Example, primary and secondary data, Douglas 2050. Primary data refers to the first-hand data gathered by the researcher himself. Sources of primary data are surveys, observation, questionnaires, and interviews. Next, secondary data. Secondary source means data collected by someone else earlier, Secondary data are the data collected by a party not related to the research study but collected this data for some others, some other purpose and at different time in the past. Source of secondary data are government publication, websites, book, journal articles, and internal records. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you for the material. And the last material will be about Among the Friends, the library.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, reading is a science and also an art. In order to be a good reader, one requires to have at least some basic knowledge of the process of reading. We need not read all the books very carefully. We are required to go ahead by skipping over some matter to save our time without losing the benefits of the book. It is necessary for a reader to consider his own thoughts, parallel quotations, use of words, and comparative concepts, along with his similar experience and memories during the process of his learning. This provides his reading the third dimension and makes it enriched and meaningful in its true sense. However, it is not as easy as it appears to be, because during the process of reading, one should not lose the rapport established with the author of the book. One should try to read in order to enrich and enjoy one's reading, not to oppose the author or to build within one's own mind a conscious counter-argument. Reading is like listening, should be proactive and not reactive. This kind of proactive and contemplative process during and after reading forms our opinions about the book. The basic aim of our life is to enrich our personality by making it more and more disciplined, thoughtful, attractive, strong, pleasant, lively, active, influencing, and even as far as possible, spiritual. In order to achieve it, we require the company of books with which we can establish a sound rapport. To be able to use modern libraries for our purpose is imperative in the modern world of information, technology, globalization of education, and competitive world market. Libraries make men and women progressive, leading to make the entire society progressive. For this, the library movement should be expanded all over our country. Our library should be made modern with decent equipment of recent times, and for this, efforts should be supported by the leadership of great thinkers, active participation of devoted workers, financial support by the donors, planning and administrative skill of government officials, and the genuine interest, affinity, and concern of the general public in our country. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you for the material. And that was the last of our materials. Thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.